All right, the penultimate piece is actually two pieces in one, and this is going to be a square piece like this that then has a round piece that's kind of embedded in that, and that will rotate, and that will give us the attachment for a larger propeller. All right, so what we're going to need to do is we're going to want to keep geometry, throw some geometry out as usual, and get along on our merry way here. So I'm going to start with these here. We're not going to end up keeping all of this border region, but we want to keep some of it there. Oops. So I'm going to take that and actually, I'm just going to go ahead and cut the rest out. And the other piece that we're going to get in here is this one. And we're going to pull in this one because it actually has the same general form that we need on our last piece here, in that it has this hollow inside, it has the little step under here, and it's just pretty much the wrong scale. So all we have to do to get this one in place is turn our symmetry on the X, and I'm going to grab this stuff here, move, and I'll pull out 4 millimeters, and I'll turn my symmetry on the Z, and I'll move out 4 millimeters. You don't want to do this with the scale tool because it will start messing with where the edges are, and just in general making the whole thing not quite as sound as we would like it to be. All right, so there's that. I mean, it's at the basic level, that's all we need here for the start. Now, what we need to do here is we need to be able to create, first of all, the circle that will hold these 4 pieces together. And then what we'll do is we'll embed that circle into here. There's a little kind of crossbar support that goes underneath, and a little circle in the middle where the circle on top snaps into. So let's start here then with the circle that runs around, and these are connected to. So go back to our quad view here, and I'm going to start in an empty layer, and I'm going to create a cylinder that draws out from center, and it actually falls in range. Let's see, let's set it up to the right amount of size. I'm going to use 36 size. I'll tell you why here in a second. And let's set this to 0. And let's see, if it goes all the way out to the edge, which is going to be 8 millimeters, then there won't be any room for this to actually attach inside. If it comes in here to where it's 6.4 millimeters, or excuse me, 6.4 millimeters, where we're subtracting 1.6 from it, then it's going to be in too far. So actually it needs to split the difference there, and I need to add 0.8 to that, so it'll put it to 7.2 millimeters. And that will give us the right amount of buffer regions all the way around. There's still going to be space for this to snap into the piece above it, and it should fit perfectly. Now, 36 sides. Reason for 36 sides is because, let's get this into the right height first, is because we're going to need, underneath this, we're going to need geometry that it will attach to, and the underneath geometry, there are a series of straight-in edges, or these lines that will come in, and they're going to make crossbars down the middle of the piece, and those will need 3 edges. We can usually count on 3 edges across and 3 edges down to sure up other sides. So makes for essentially 9 edges per side, and you do all the math and it comes out to 36 edges. Now on this one we'll actually use 2 slight versions of this. We'll have this one here, and then we'll have one that we rotate a few degrees. The one here we'll use with this rotated, and we'll have the corners on each edge. And this is the one that we'll attach to this piece, or to these pieces, these ones here. And actually, I take it back. I think we might be able to simplify things. I did it before with them being all attached, but I think we can probably actually just rotate this and be all right. And we're looking for 5 degrees. There we go. That gets it to even flush sides on each corner. And what we'll want to have is, let's get over to our edge mode. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edges on each corner, and then they're going to be probably 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll have to check on that here. 6 edges here where this piece attaches, and then there's going to be 5 all the way around here on these. So we'll have to check and make sure our rotation is just right. But yeah, so that's the general idea here. And then what we'll do is, and we'll actually start doing it right now, is we're going to take this and I'm going to bevel it in. And at first, I'm just going to go all the way in here to be a point just past where these circles are, these bumps, and we'll have to create attach points so that we can just embed these circles into what else is here. So we will have some loop slices that will then attach and give us something to hook onto. So let's go back here and look and see what we're going to need. I'm going to hide the underlying piece there. So we can see right here we've got, this is where we can start counting. Let's go to edges here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 edges where we need to attach. Okay, so these 8 edges need to have 8 edges across here, obviously, to attach to. Right now, if we just draw it in, we'd have, oops, let's get over to the right layer here. We would have, come on, here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So actually, that might do it. We'll give it a try here and check this out. So I'm going to take those polygons right there, and something's off with my symmetry. I'm just going to turn that off right now. I'm going to get rid of that. And something really is off with this. I think I may have typed in something wrong. Or did I miscount? I think I miscounted on the 36 edges. I think we needed 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 420 plus 4 times 4 is 16. So no, it's 36. So I don't know. I think I'm just losing my mind. Comes with something, I don't know what. So let's get this here and check. Oh, see, I see. There's the problem. Is I'm only measuring for 3 in between. And that's where we're coming up funny. That's okay, because actually there's going to be 1 on each of these that will bridge, so it will come out to 5 anyway. So go ahead and get those out of there. I'm going to take this entire thing and just cut it and paste it back into here. And on the whole thing, I'm going to go ahead and apply our base gray texture there. Now, what we'll do is let's double check our edges here again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So those will have to attach to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll give that a try here and see how this works. So let's go ahead and run edge bridge, and yeah, this one we'll have to do a little bit more manually. And actually, no, I take it back. We don't. All we have to do is get everything into the proper subdivision level. So let's go over to polys here. I'm just going to grab these guys and unsubdivide them. And let's go back to edges and try that again, bridge. So you can see the actual issue we are having here is that we're getting crossing over. And that's because there are too many edges here in the middle and there are not enough running along the sides. So that's that is then where we come into our real issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this back and I'm going to go very quickly here and recreate this with instead of 36 with 24. So apply, and I'm going to go into this, back into this mesh layer. Oops. Everything attached now there, so I got to just select these all by hand, and that'll work. Okay, so now let's go in here and look at this. I'll take this, bevel, and again, I'll just pull it back inside of here. And then let's go ahead and run a single loop slice. Oops. And right down the middle here. Let's see what we're looking at here. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 edges to attach to. So this is going to work definitely a bit better this time. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to remove all these, all of these, all of these, and all of those. Go ahead and cut those out. I'm going to take this entire thing, cut it, paste it, apply our material, and now I'm going to get this one, attach it to this one, run bridge. Let's get a good seat for the show here. There we go. That is more in line with what we're looking for. Alright, so let's do the same thing on these other ones. Not sure what's wrong with my symmetry though. Here, let's give it a try again. We'll try our Z symmetry and see if we can get this to work. Z symmetry. Yeah, it's working. 8. 8. Bridge. Click. And turn our symmetry off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bridge, click, done. All right, so you can see we've got the definite start of this. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go in and grab these overlapping corners here. We're just going to delete these. And these ones over here. And there we go. So now we've got our circular base with our bumps on it. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab this entire piece and just going to run edge extend. So Z, I'm going to pull it down. Let's see, the height's going to be 800 UM, so 0.8 millimeters. And I'm not going to bother doing anything with the loop slicing or anything yet, because we're actually going to need to clean this up a bit here first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this section on each of these, copy, hide, paste, and I can get these. I'm going to move these guys down 1.6 plus 0.8, so 2.4 millimeters. And we can unhide. And I'm going to flip those so that they're facing down. And what we're going to be looking for here is we want to have our circle kind of run through through this geometry here. So let's go back into our empty mesh layer real quick, and I'm just going to create another cylinder. I'm going to use all the same settings and click apply. And let's give it our color. I'm just going to drag it down. Take it back. Let's move it down and then paste it in. Sorry about that. So 800, flip, cut, paste. Now you can see we've got here this bit of, maybe a little bit of alignment issue here, and that's okay. We can snap things in to work. basically what we're looking for is we want this, or these pair of edges right here that are running through these diagonally. We want these to cut through so that we can have one clean piece here, and then we'll just remove this bottom part, and then we'll actually remove this part too here. So let's do this. Let's go ahead first here, and I'm going to move, oops, need to get all of them, sorry. Let's move these all up 0.8 so where they belong. And I'm not going to attach those yet because I want to get them sliced properly first of all here. So let's go, oops, wrong button. Let's get into our top view and oops, get this piece here, and we're going to run our slice tool, so C, and from here we're going to go, I'm sorry, just keep getting ahead of myself. All this, delete that on there. I'm not even going to worry about these here because I'm just going to duplicate them over. So let's just cut those out actually. There we go. Go back to this one. And what I'm going to do here is run C key. I'm going to go from here to, oops. Well, if it's going to let me. Well, something has gone very funny with this. So there are a couple other ways that we can actually do this. So let's try one of those. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, copy it, and hide it. And I'm going to paste it here into this empty mesh layer. I'm going to get this entire piece here. Oops, let's flip it so it's going the right way. And I get this entire edge, Z, edge extend. Just going to pull it up. And then I'm going to switch over to this mesh again. I'm going to grab this one, I'll just cut it out. New mesh layer. I'll hide that one. We'll paste this in here. And I'm going to move it one millimeter back and in. Oops, wrong one. Okay. Then I'm going to turn snapping on, geometry, constrain to background, and then I'm just going to drag it back over. And back down. And I may have to get these exact here numerically. That only takes a second though. There's that. And now we've got that, it's going to conform to the right shape. So this is the shape that we're looking for. Unfortunately, we didn't get that whole bisected piece across there, but that's okay too. So let's go up into here. Let me start by pasting back in this one that I had. And we're going to grab this one, and I'm going to move it down to start. Move it down to the bottom. And we'll cut that. And paste it into there. I just want to check and make sure we still have, yep, that edge still aligns. that edge still aligns. Okay, so now what we'll do is, I'll remove that from my UV since I just happen to be thinking about it. UVs. Move back to our model quad view, and I'm going to mirror this across the X. And then I'm going to mirror both of these across the Z. Let's unhide this piece. I'm going to do the same thing that we did on the top. I'm just going to bevel. And I can just do this manual. Actually, I know that I'm going to need a slice here in the middle. Oops. And one at the bottom. Get this on one here first. Let's cut that out. We'll run our bridge tool. So we can see we have the properly bisected version of our circle in there. Okay. All right. So instead of having to do that all the way around, let's just do this here. I'm going to grab this entire section. Same thing over here and over here. Cut that. I'm just going to shift up arrow to get this. And oops, looks like I missed a couple. Let's get those. So cut those out. So select that one, shift up arrow, shift V, and apply. Those two, shift up arrow, shift V, X axis, and apply. And we should have everything pretty much set up here. All right, the only place that we're coming into any kind of an issue is this, so I think we may get away with deleting that and still have a nice edge. So yeah, let's do that. We're not running enough extra things through here that are going to cause us to need all that extra sharpening. So let's just try that. Oh, that worked pretty nicely. All right, so let's go ahead and grab these parts here. Oops, looks like some got merged together there. That's all right. We're deleting them anyway. I'll get rid of that one now. All right, so now all we need to do is take these edges here. You get those 4 all the way around. Couple extra polys to delete there. Okay, so we've got all those now. So we're on our edge extend, which is Z. Pull those up 0.8. And then I can turn some symmetry on. I'll go with X to start here. Get these 4 edges. And these 4 edges. These are the ones we want to bridge together, except if we bridge these directly, just piece to piece, we're going to end up with triangles at the corners. And oops, actually, if you're not careful, you'll get more than one too. So in order to make this work, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this one and this one, oops, and attach them to these two. So let's run bridge. And then I'm just going to run a single loop slice through that. Oops, let's put it in the middle. And I can grab these points here, fill it with a poly. Oops. That's weird. Undo that. See what happened here. There we go. Had an extra edge selected there. Oh, and that's because we don't have our we don't have our edges sewn together yet. So that's all right. Let's duplicate these first. So Shift V to mirror these. We'll mirror them on the Z. Apply. Now let's give this a try and see what we get. Still nothing. So I'm going to run a real quick merge tool. All to 0. A few artifacts popping up in there, that's all right. Check and clean those up. And we'll try this again here. There we go. P to fill it with a poly. Oops. And that one just, both of those on that side didn't go at all. No, that's all right, because I'm just going to go run a slice down the middle here. And another one down here. Oops. That way we can just mirror over the entire thing. I'm pretty happy with the way that that came out, so I don't want to have to run all the work again if I don't need to. Those. Those. Now we'll just Shift V again, mirroring across the Z again. Click Apply. And we did end up with a little something there, so let's go ahead and grab these edges and just make sure they're perfectly aligned. So I'll run the Scale tool, turn off negative scale, set my action center to the origin, just make sure those are flattened out. And let's try this again. So Shift V, apply. Oops. Right axis might help. Apply. There we go. So I don't have any other artifacts running through there. So if I run loop slices 2 and symmetry around the edges, we'll have that part ready. And it looks like these did weasel their way back into our UV. Insidious little things. And so let's do this. Just make sure that we've got everything covered. I'm going to grab just those. Oh, looks like we're not in the right UV. Help. So grab just those. I'm going to invert to make sure I got anything else. Edit and delete UVs. And then I'm just going to delete this extra UV map because no reason to have that. And yes, I'm sure. Okay. And I got these n-gons here, and the cool thing about these n-gons is they're actually circular shaped. So we could use these to create little indents in the bottom, which, oh heck, let's go ahead and do. So what I'm going to do is temporarily I'm going to have to spiky these. So I'm going to run, oops, go over to my model view again, polygons and spiky. That'll give me, I'll fill these out here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this polygon here, bevel, click, and go to my scale tool, and for my action center I'll choose element, and I'll get right in on that center point that I've created. I'll just draw those in. And let's see, these are usually half, so I'll go in 50%, and then bevel, and we'll go up 0.8. Oops. A couple loop slices around there. And then we have these circles that are slightly bisected circles. They get a little bit of an edge flowing through them, which is how those are on the bottom. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to grab each of those. Let's go all the way out. Shift V, and I'll mirror those again across the Z. I don't have to run that again. I'm going to go back in here and grab these extra edges and just delete them. Keep my geometry a little bit more clean. And also I can take this, well, take the whole thing, just this edge here and this edge here, and delete those. And now I've got, believe it or not, I've got a circle down here. So let's take this and we'll be ready to go off of there to extend down into the bottom. Now, to have a piece that extends down into the bottom, we need a little ridge, and we need something that is going to be, let's see, 3.6 millimeters across. So let's go ahead and we'll go to the basic tab, and I'm going to create half of that, so 1.8, excuse me, 3.2, not 3.6, so 1.6 millimeters. 1.6 millimeters there. I want to keep the same amount of sides because that's going to put that in the right place there. Move it down. Oops, reset our action center there. Down 8 millimeters, or 0.8 millimeters. And then we'll go in here to this. And the only reason I actually have to do this is just because it was going to be more difficult to get the actual scale reference, so easier just to paste this one in. And then attach these two and bridge them. So edge, bridge, click, whoops, reverse that direction. All right, now with this one we actually have something very similar to what we had on the propeller, and that's that it bevels down, and it goes down 1.6 millimeters. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that to start here. So I'll bevel, and I'll pull down 1.6 millimeters. Oops. Like not everything is getting subdivided right here. There we go. That middle guy wasn't. So let's bevel this down 1.6 millimeters. And then what we'll have to do is we'll have to create a little divot in this. So I'm going to run, first I'm going to start by running just my loop slices to thicken the whole thing. Then I'm going to run loop slice and just one right down the middle. Okay, and then what we need to do is we need to extract a section out of the middle of this. So I've got my X symmetry on, and that's perfect. I'm going to use my edge slice tool and go across the edges there, and that's going to leave me with this section all ready to cut out. And then what we need to do is we need to bridge across this gap. So I'm just going to delete the middle, bridge, and click. Actually, I take that back. I'm just going to bridge across this one here to start. This is just going to give me more options to run some loop slices in here and keep my geometry nice. Turn my symmetry off here, bridge, and click. And then I'm going to run a loop slice. Oops, 2 loop slices. And we can just select these parts here, deselect the ends, bridge, oops. I have that one, this one, deselect the edges, bridge, and there's that one. Now we'll need, we're going to need, or eventually here, we're going to need some loop slices to run around here, but first what we're going to do is get this working properly. So I'm going to take this edge here in the middle, and all we're going to do is take this and drop it down a little bit, and that's going to hint at the roundness. If I unsubdivide, you'll see it's giving that angle there. And let's get these here, adjust those too, because those are running really far from the edge. I want those to be pretty close. Okay. So now I'm going to go here, I'm going to run loop slices, 2 of them, and keep them pretty tight. And I'm going to grab all this stuff on one side, and same stuff on the other side. Run my scale tool, scale those out. I think the other one I did 105%. I'm going to do the same thing here. Oops. Looks like I'm short a loop slice somewhere here. There we go. So I got to select all these now. Scale tool. I'm going to plot that 105%. And a loop slice around here. And just one. And we should be relatively good to go. I may have to make some additional adjustments here just because this is going to add a little tightness. So I'm just going to select all this stuff. And then I want to subdivide again. And we'll just move this down. And we need a couple of loop slices in here, which I think I do. And just to finish things off, I'm going to grab these top edges right here. Oops. That's not quite right. Oh, I know what I've forgotten. Forgotten to flatten these parts out. So let's go ahead and grab I made some little mistake on the bevel here. It looks like I got an overlapping edge there. I'll go ahead and delete that. Let's see, which one did I delete? What? This goes to show you all sorts of things can happen. It's good to know how to fix them. So let's go ahead and delete those. That's already looking better. It's left me with a triangle on each corner here, but that's definitely not anything to worry about. Okay, let's unsubdivide again, and what I want to do is grab these three. Here, let's turn our symmetry on the X again. Grab these ones all the way down to there, and grab the same ones on the other side. Run my scale tool, set the action center to element. Just click on one of these flat faces, flatten that down. And bevel off these tops here. Oops, keep selecting. Yep, it's right the first time. Bevel these, pull them up a little bit. Just to smooth that out. Okay, so there's that section. Now, just need to build the housing that it goes in. We've already got it started here, so let's see here. Let's go down to this one. And we had done this with 36 edges initially, which is actually what we're going to want to go back to. And to get that here, I'm going to run 3 loop slices down here. Well, 2 loop slices, create 3 subdivisions. Same thing here. And now we got to do the same thing on each of these. So all right, now that's going to give me a nice grid to go with here. And I'm just going to start by cutting that out. And then here on the underside, we've got, actually we've got a couple things we need to do. First, we need to go and remove all of this stuff. So I'll cut that out. And now this leaves us with kind of an upper and a lower lip. And it's kind of getting into the ballpark of where we want to be. So, like I said, I need to take three 3 edges on each side here, and these are what will make up the edges that run in here. So let's just go ahead and bevel those. And since they're flat, we can just bevel them straight forward. I probably should have unsubdivided first. That's all right. Let's go in 3.2 millimeters here, and then we'll unsubdivide. And I'll do the same thing over here. Go in 3.2. Maybe 3.6 would have been better on the other one. That's right, we'll move them in now. So we're going to turn our symmetry back over to the X, or the Z, excuse me. And these ones will move in 0.4. And I'll put them in the right position. Now these will attach to an inner ring here that piece goes, this little bit goes into. And that ring will attach and we'll have some depth. And oops, sorry, I just looked at something on the piece and we missed something here. Sorry about that. I need to run a loop slice down the middle of this first. And then I'm going to run, oops, turn that to free, run one close to the edge. Now I have, again, the right amount. So let's bevel those. And we'll come in 3.6. These ones, 3.6. Okay, and that's the correct amount that we need there. I'm going to end up needing loop slices on these, so I may as well run them now. So let's run loop slice. Oops. Symmetry and a count of 2. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start with, I know that the inner radius of the piece that goes in here, there are two actually. There's an inner and then there's a middle, an inner and an inner, if you will. And the larger inner one is 4.8 millimeters. So let's go ahead and do that one first. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to set my sides up to 36, and we're going to go to 2.4 millimeters. And I'm going to set this to 1.6 millimeters. Just so we have something in there in the height. And let's drop that in. And that's really too tall, but that's all right. Our action center back to automatic. I'll just drag this down. Start dragging it down 2.4. And then this one, let's see. So we'll drag down 0.8. There we go. Oops. I'm going to grab this and cut it. Go back to our, oops. Go back to this layer. Paste it. Apply the material to it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this entire ring here, and I'm going to bevel this out. Probably 0.4 millimeters ought to do it. And I'm going to run loop slices down it. And let's subdivide that. It looks like we may have to move these back a bit after all. That's all right. I'm just going to move them back 0.2. They're still going to be pretty close there. Let's turn our symmetry over to Z. These ones back 0.2 as well. And we'll grab, what we need to do is These three then will attach to, oh yeah, sorry, we need to scale these in first, so let's get those done. And scale these in 50%. Okay, then I can change my symmetry over to the X. And again in 50%. Let's take this whole thing, I have to rotate it, oops, 5 degrees so that we get edge to edge. There we go. And then we'll select this and this. We'll shift up arrow on both of them. I probably could have gone with 24 sides on that one too. I think I might be losing my mind with that 36 and thinking of another piece. That happens sometimes. You get pieces on the brain after a while. So let's do that real quick here, just to I think it's going to end up being easier in the long run. So just grab this. I'm going to set this position to 0. And I'm going to go with 24. And I'm going to go 2.4, 0.8, 2.4, oops. Make sure that that's at 800 UM. That's 2.4 millimeters. Otherwise we'll be in trouble. Make it on the Y. There we go. Let's take this whole thing and drag it up into place. We'll grab this, bevel it out. $400 and 0 on the inset. And some loop slices around each of these. Let's go over to this one. We'll get rid of this first one that we had in there. Oops, make sure we give it the right texture. And then we'll rotate it. This time we'll go 6 degrees. We'll give us to a flush angle. Turn on our X symmetry. Grab this poly, shift up arrow. That's more like what we're looking for. And let's see here, actually. I want to run a loop slice or a couple loop slices about there. This one and this one, we'll try this again. There we go, shift up arrow, our bridge tool. And lovely, something appears to be just a little bit off here. So let's back up and see what's going on. Make sure I got, oh, here we go. You can see there's something not quite right on my rotation. And I know why. I rotated it without being in the right axis. Add material, rotate. And let's see, we're going for 24, my gosh. My math is totally failing me here. We got 24 sides, so 360, I think we should be at 7.5. There we go. And that was why that didn't work before. I'm gonna rotate that 7.5 millimeters, it looks like. Now let's try this. That's a little better. Still doesn't look quite right. Maybe it was 8. There it is. Actually, I needed to center that piece. Looks like I hadn't quite centered it right. And let's turn our X symmetry back on here and give this a try. So let's select that one, and that one, shift up arrow. Now that's looking more correct. And we'll go Polygon Bridge. Make sure we got our direction going the right way. There we go. So same thing here. Let's turn our symmetry on to Z. We'll get that polygon. And oops, and of course. Then I forget to run my loop slices through here. Better all the time, right? So let's get that one and that one. Shift up arrow, bridge. There we go. And we'll get our symmetry over to Z. This polygon, shift up arrow, bridge. Okay, so now we've got this part ready. We'll run loop slices through all these sections here just to keep things nice and sharp. Don't need to be too tight with them though, because this is a pretty small section. I'm also going to run loop slices around that, and that will keep that piece looking nice too. And let's bring in our stuff in the background. Okay, so I'm going to grab these here, bevel, and turn my symmetry off. Go to my scale tool. Actually, let's unsubdivide before we do that. There we go. Now we'll go to our scale tool. And we just want to get this down to where it will kind of neatly house around that guy. Grab these two here, and I'm going to bevel them in just a little bit. We'll bridge them. And I know that this part here actually, this part here insets a little bit, so I'm just going to grab these edges here. I'm going to pull these up, and where these go is kind of just above that little lip. So something like that. These are pretty tight in here, so I'm going to run these at 15% for my loop slices. There we go. Alright, so now we have one last piece of business, and that's to attach this ring here, oops, just the one on the top, into the inner circle that this piece will attach to, and we'll be ready to call this one a deal. Alright, so let's look at doing that then. Let's go to an empty mesh layer, and we're going to run our cylinder. We're going to go with our original settings, so 7.2 millimeters. And for now, I'm just going to leave that out, 7.2 millimeters, and center it all up. Apply. I'm going to take it and move it up 3.2, I guess. So it goes right up to the top there. There it is. Oops. And again, we're looking here, we've got to be rotated. It's going to be 5 degrees again. Should be. Let's check this out here. Rotational math is not being my friend today. Oh, I know why. I did not set my number of sides. Wow. Just gets better and better, doesn't it? Well, let's go ahead and go to our cylinder tool and set our sides up to 36. And while I'm at it, I'm going to set my Y up to 3.2 millimeters. And click apply. Now I'll give it its material. Rotate it. Should be just 5 degrees. Yep, there we go. And I take this, cut it, go to my mesh, oops, my main layer here, paste it, make sure that this one is subdivided. And we'll select that edge, which is 36, and this should put us up to 72, which it does. We'll run bridge. And we'll just go straight down here. What we're looking for is going right to right above that. I guess we'll go to 0.8 then. Actually, what we're going to insert into there is exactly 0.8, so let's go just a hair more, just to make sure that we have a little daylight going on. And put in our loop slices. And actually, cut this out. This inner edge here, which is, oops, we got 44 edges on that, so that's going to be interesting. Looks like we'd run some stuff at the corners. So let's edge extend this one. We'll bring it up. Actually, on this one, if you look really closely, there's a little bit of separation here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this one up to where it goes just underneath. Oops. And then I'm going to run edge extend again in the scale tool, and we'll just pull this out. It gets out of the way. 120% how to do it. And we'll run loop slice there, there. We'll do the same thing but backwards with this one. Grab this, Z edge extend. We'll scale out. Oops, except that won't. That's not going to give us exactly what we want there, is it? We're probably going to want to attach this even though we don't get the exact number of edges here. Let's see where we added in those extra edges. Looks like they're somewhere through here. Oh, and it's because of the corners. Yeah, boy. That's okay. What we can do is we can get rid of... No. And here's where I have it. Okay, so let's go ahead here and let's make this all line up here. So I'm going to back up just a little bit here. Let's undo all of this. Move into there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop select this entire thing. I'm going to get this, cut that out too. I'm going to go to entry mesh layer. And I'm going to run this. Same settings. We're going to go up to 44 sides. And we'll click apply. This one, rotation is going to be a little less exact because I guess in 4 looks pretty close. So we'll subdivide that, cut it, go up here, paste it, apply our material to it. And now the thing is that we were running this based off of this loop here, which really doesn't give us what we want because that's that loop that runs all the way around. So what we'll need to do is we'll actually select, we'll get rid of the entire top rung here, because when we run that bevel in, it kills 2 edges on each corner, and that's why we're 8 edges down. So we'll get rid of those. Now if we select this edge and this edge and run bridge, we should be in much better shape. It's going to look funny at first, but that's okay. Start by running loop slices pretty tight around the edges here. This guy bevel, pull it down, and let's actually do 0.8 exactly. It's going to make our numbers a little easier. Run loop slices around there, again pretty tight. Cut this out. Select those 44 edges, those 44 edges. I'm going to scale them, and I'm going to scale them relative to what I just moved down. So let's change our action center to element, and I'll just click on any one of these edges here. We'll flatten that out. And now let's get this one and this one. And this one might be interesting. We'll see how the bridge tool handles it by itself. Actually, not too shabby. It's going to be going 2 directions at once. I actually did a splendidly good job. So there we go. Let's bring in this one. And there we go. Looks like we probably could use 1 extra loop slice on this guy. So let's go ahead and do that. Solidify that a little bit. Alright. There's everything. We'll take a little bit of cleanup, but let's just go ahead and cut all those polys out, paste them into a blank mesh layer, give them one of these is bound to work. Go to our shader tree, and we've got a few leftover ones in here, so let's just grab a base gray and throw it up to the top. We'll delete these before we save out our preset. There we go. So now we got this one. This piece can rotate. We set our action center to origin. We'll end up making a little assembly so that this can rotate just like with the other propeller. And we'll be set and ready to go. Alright guys, one more video left, or one more model left, and then we start texturing and assembling. Thanks for sitting through that one. See you in the next one.